Hey guys, I wanted to come on here and talk about this situation with this pregnant Black woman who was accused of shoplifting at Staples. And one of the things they say she did is put something under her clothes, and the bulge is what they indicated as her stealing. And the interesting thing is the police approached her while she was at the cash register paying for her items. So I think this is really interesting when you think about the intellectual level of everybody involved. But before I get into this video, because I'm going to get into this video and show you guys this, I want to say this. The fact that you keep constantly seeing this happening to Black people, that says something. And I really want Black people to think about what that says. Because whenever you see something happening to only one group of people, that implies that you're in a bullying situation, okay? That says that there is something about this group of people where all other races of people believe that they are prey and fodder for them and that they can subject them to things like this. Because understand that people really do have a way of judging their victims. Even if you watch the Animal Channel and you see sections where lions are hunting their prey, they hunt prey on a ritualistic basis or in a ritualistic manner, and they do that based on the victim. So first they have to stalk their victim and see what type of victim it is before they end up hunting it. So the fact that these things continuously happen to Black people, it says a number of different things, and unfortunately there are many people in the Black community who just don't understand what this is saying. Whatever we're doing in response to this is not working in terms of deterring the behavior. And if you want a certain behavior to end, then that means you're going to have to respond to the continuation of that behavior in a certain manner. And unfortunately, Black people are just not responding appropriately because this continues to happen, okay? They're the reason why you're not seeing videos like this where Asians are being accused of shoplifting in stores. And number one, that's because by and large, they support their own communities. They're the reason why you don't see Indians, not even the dark ones, and not even them. Like the only time you see, and that wasn't, and I don't even need to give that scenario of that little African boy with the constructing the invention, because the reality of it is that wasn't even an Asian. He was from Africa. But there's a reason why these situations happen to Black people more so than anything. And I think that Black people are being ignorant to not address this for what it is. But I want to get into this video because I want to show you guys some of the things of what happened in this video. So let's go to this video and then I'll come back with some commentary.
On WSOCTV.com all day. An expecting mother accused of shoplifting at Staples. At 5 o'clock, we learned the store's manager was fired. All new tonight. That mother told Eyewitness News reporter Kristen Lee it's a good first step.
I actually saw it on social media.
Sherelle Bates told me she learned on social media the Staples manager who wrongly accused her of shoplifting had been fired.
It wasn't directly to me. I didn't have any direct communication with Staples.
Channel 9 was the first to share Bates' story this weekend.
I'm having a boy and a girl.
The mother-to-be is 34 weeks pregnant with twins. She was shopping at the Staples on Pineville Matthews Road Friday. She says a store manager suspected her of shoplifting and asked a police officer inside to question her.
To avoid him asking me again, I actually lifted my shirt just a little bit, just to expose my belly, just so you can see that. No, it's just folders. I'm just a regular pregnant person, pencils, buying school supplies.
Staples sent us this statement Monday, which read in part, Staples has conducted a full investigation into the matter and determined that the manager in question did not follow correct protocol and also failed to adhere to our existing policy on how to interact with our customers. As a result of this finding, the manager has been terminated and Staples has apologized to the customer.
And if I never went to seek for it, it would not have happened. And that's the truth.
Bates said the apology came only after asking a cashier to call the manager to the front.
I think that this was enough to deter me from spending my hard-earned dollars at that establishment.
That was Kristen Lee reporting. Going forward, Bates says that she would like Staples to provide sensitivity training for all employees. She also hopes that Staples improves its communication with customers who submit formal complaints. As we said, this story has been #1 on our website all day, and we've posted more of our interview with Bates on our website. Just go to WSOCTV.com.
Now, listen, okay? My primary issue with all of these situations is that even though we know that they're race-based, we know that this is racial profiling, we know that if this was a pregnant white woman, the reality of it is that she wouldn't have been profiled as stealing. And we also know that it doesn't matter whether this black woman was pregnant or not, she still would have been accused of stealing. So those are some of the things that we do know, okay? We also know that black people sitting here saying, oh, well, let's give them sensitivity training. Really? We know that suggests that you can train out racism, and we know that you cannot train out racism. You can't pray out racism. You can't talk racism out of a person, because black people have been doing those things for hundreds of years. If you could train out racism, either they're choosing not to train out racism in the people who are practicing racism because they want racism to thrive, or you can't train out racism and they know you can, and they're just telling you that because they think you're dumb enough to believe that you can train out racism. But the reality of it is if you could train out racism, it raises the question of, then why are we living in a system of white supremacy that is predicated on racism? That's what that means. It means either somebody's withholding the training because they are invested in white supremacy, or you can't train out racism and you have a bunch of people acting on their nature. Either way, the result is the same. So my question is, why would you, as a black person, say, oh, sensitivity training? Because I'll tell you, my incident at a grocery store where I sent them to the Human Rights Commission and filed a complaint, and I know the investigator said, oh, one of the things that they're automatically going to put on the company is sensitivity training. And I said, I don't care about any sensitivity training, because they had that as a condition of their employment. When anybody gets employed, they give you training on racism and discrimination. So giving them an additional training on top of a training that they've already had doesn't benefit me. I said, no, they need to be fired, okay? They don't deserve to be working around people at all, because clearly either they can't follow policies or they're too dumb to recognize when they're being racist. Either way, again, result is still the same. Okay. And so if I get into any situation like that, that is what I'm going to tell them. Sensitivity training doesn't work. And if it did, we wouldn't be living in the country that we're living in right now, where racism is a continuing issue. And number two, that person already had training. And if they already had training, they either disregarded it or they were too stupid to comprehend it. Either way, that's not my business. They don't need to be there anymore. Now, what I do like is that this woman said that situation was enough for her to not shop at that place anymore. And I think that's very good on her. But I would have liked to see a lawsuit, because to be in a situation like that where police approaches any black person anywhere, that is a life-threatening situation. So not only did they put her life in danger, they put the life of her two unborn babies in danger too. Even if the babies were not harmed by the interaction with the police and any violent altercation, which we already know none of that happened, the stress harms babies. And so I would like to have seen a situation where she said she's definitely seeking legal action, not that she's considering it. Because if I'm in a situation like this, and anytime I get into a situation like this, consideration's already there. I already know for a fact, once I walk out of that establishment, the first thing I'm doing is finding an attorney to sue the company. So there would be no consideration, because quite frankly, even if that employee is fired, she's going to go get he or she is going to go get a job somewhere else, or they're going to hire another one that, despite training, is going to have the same racist sentiments as the last one, and is going to repeat the process. Because in all honesty, most of the time, they can't even recognize what racism really is. They never see racism unless they see a black person seeking to call them out on their racism. And that's the thing that a lot of black people don't understand. We need to be filing lawsuits. That's what needs to be happening. Lawsuits need to be filed. Okay? There needs to be so many lawsuits that everybody at this point sees that the legal field is the field that you need to be in to be making the most money, just based off the sheer volume of lawsuits that Black people are initiating. And if you can't initiate a lawsuit, then you need to go file an EEOC complaint, or a Human Rights Commission complaint, or a Civil Rights Commission complaint. One of those things you need to be doing. These industries should be inundated with complaints from Black people, because there's no loss of racist situations that they find themselves in. You don't have to sit there and wonder when the next time you're going to be subjected to some racism when you walk out your door. 9 times out of 10, you're going to fall prey to some white supremacy. But the reality of it is a lot of Black people delude themselves about that. So that's why you can't effectively deal with it, because you can't effectively deal with something that you don't see. My question to the people who watch this video is that why do you think it is that Black people refuse to actually see racism where it is? Or they'll sit up here and adamantly deny the existence of white supremacy, although they're falling prey to it every day. Even if they're not personally falling prey to it, their people is. There's too many examples of it, and yet you still have way too many Black people who sit up here and ignore and deny the existence of a system of white supremacy and racism. They think that, just like they think psychology is laying on somebody's couch and talking to them, they think white supremacy is somebody wandering around in a KKK robe or a white nationalist outfit saying I hate niggers and burning crosses on lines. Black people really need to get out of this myopic thinking pattern and think way beyond their little restricted box where you have certain things that look one way and you can't recognize it unless it's that way. If it deviates from it, then you're identifying it as something else. That really needs to change. But you guys let me know what you think. Thank you for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.